And welcome everybody. I am about to do an unboxing of some Rosemary and Co brushes. They're considered the finest quality handmade artists brushes. So Rosemary and Co brushes. This is a very well-known brand that's based in the UK, and I've had one set before. They have these different sets of brushes for different purposes. And there's a lot of well-known artists who do brushes who actually have brush sets on there. And I haven't yet purchased theirs. I just wanted to start with like the bigger, the random big, well-known brush sets before I got into the individual artist brush sets. But let me start popping off my supplies before I get started here, as we because I'm going to be working on this painting. But as some people start rolling in here for this live stream, I'm going to pop open some supplies because we will be painting right as we get started. And I will say they create a wide variety of brushes, and what I find really interesting about them is they definitely have a fine level of quality in them. They are definitely brushes that that are much more difficult to find, as far as finding them in like a store or something. I guess there are a lot of companies that create competitive brushes, but they offer amazing value because when you buy them in sets, the values, I think they do a great job with the value as far as cost goes. But as far as that, look, this is a beautiful little box. It's designed, it makes it feel like it's a holiday, like you're getting a gift no matter what season it is. And, you know, I just love this little bow feature. I mean, it's not gift wrapped, but it feels like a gift. So I love that idea. Let's start, let's take a razor and let's start carving into this. So let's see, where do we want to start? We're going to use our handy dandy razor, and we're just going to go ahead and start to, does it go down in here? I don't know exactly how this opens. Let's see, I guess probably right into here, right? Let's go, oh yeah, there we go. So Rosemary & Co brushes, absolutely fantastic brushes. I have a set already, and honestly I feel like some of these could be a repeat of stuff I already have, but honestly, my first set, I gotta say, I wasn't prepared for it because they're amazing quality brushes, but I had failed to properly clean them. So when you fail to properly clean them, sometimes they have trouble maintaining its level of quality. But I will say overall, I was very happy with some of the badger hair brushes that I got because they work so well with oil paints. And I gotta say, like, you know, for a brush like this probably isn't a great. I mean, you could get it for any level of artist, but you know, if you're a brand new artist and you've never you don't have cleaning supplies and you don't really know how to take care and maintain brushes, Rosemary Co brushes does come with a recommended way to clean, but you definitely want to be cognizant of the idea that you want to be prepared to take care of Rosemary Co brushes. So I'm trying to find where this opens. Let's see. So we're gonna go into here, and we're gonna go. I have my address on the back, so I'm avoiding showing the back here, but I will pop this down slowly as we start to open it. But anyway, it's the front of the box that you want to see. So it is closed in this beautiful little box here. And let's go ahead and just bring this baby open. Hopefully I carved it out open enough. And we're gonna go ahead. It's open. Oh, you know what? I should at least have my cover on so I can place it on top of my paints. Alright, so here we go. Rosemary Co brushes. Let's pop this open and see what it comes up with. Feels like the holidays with this little great gift wrapping. And oh, here we go. So it's a cute little letter, very, very beautiful little letter. Thank you. These days of hustle and bustle and busy lives, we all lead the small common courtesies are all too often overlooked. So we'd like to take this opportunity of saying thank you for your custom. As a family business, we are trying too hard to ensure quality products. Serving you is our pleasure. Trust you will enjoy our brushes. So some nice cardboard stacked on top of there. And I guess you, oh, whoops. Well, hopefully no one caught that, right? Well, anyway, let's go right here. So we're gonna go Chauffeur's Cottage in Yorkshire, England. That's where they make the brushes out of. Very nice. Looks, anything from England is very nice and high end, I would assume. And let's go right here. We've got some messages. And let's see. So we're going to go with the brush cleaning tips. You got some great brush cleaning tips. And let's go like this. So we've got pop right into here, and here we go. So let's see what's under here, at least just to give all the boxes. Okay, so you get points for everything you use, which is great. I got a big discount on these brushes because I had some points saved up from my last purchase. So that is one great thing, is if you buy brushes, there's discounts. So let's go ahead and put all this down and actually open up some of these brushes here. So let's see what we've got. We've got some ivory filberts, some ivory long flats, multiple of them, ivory pointed rounds, long flats, long filberts. I think when it says these series, like Series 105, Series 278, all that means is that they're I believe these are really fine badger hair brushes. So let's see what it says. Alla Prima, first attempt, 15 popular oil brushes, softer approach. It's like the most popular shapes. Although on the longer handles, we can make them short, just ask. Ivory synthetics. So I guess these are the synthetics, which are absolutely amazing. I love synthetic, well-made synthetic brushes, but literally you can't do in initial painting stages that the ivory can't achieve. Master's choice of beautiful batter blend. Yep, exactly what I mentioned. Great for softening, knocking back edges. Alla Prima, 278, 279, without pulling paint off underneath. Yes, great experience. Chosen size 4 in those ranges. Series 105 fan. I have trouble with fan brushes in general, but you know, it comes with it. Series 105 is just knock back dry edges. So let's see. These are sealed, like vacuum sealed in some way. So I guess I might need a. Let me bring back that cutter blade here. That blade. And we're gonna go right into here. Bam, bam. Nice sharp blade for cleaning off your palette knife. Used for other purposes as well. Actually, I might need a new glove in a second. There we go. And let's grab a new glove here. My other glove got caught and it had a hole in it, and I don't like getting oil all over my hands, especially with some of the metals that are in oil paints, like the metals, which can be bad for the skin. So don't usually like to get that on myself. Oils, I don't mind. I wouldn't mind oils getting messy and everything, but when it comes to like the metals and the chemicals that I use with my oil paints, like mineral spirits, the drying solution, I don't like to get that on my hands. So here we go. We're gonna put some of these brushes up here. pull this baby out here. Let's see. Why is it getting stuck? Why are you getting stuck? Ah, this little corner right here. So here we go. Rosemary Co. Oil Alla Prima collection. And here is what my guess or interpretation of what their uses are. So it's a lot of brushes. I got a set here of about, it came with a set of 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see, 2, 4, 6, so that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 brushes. So, we've got all these brushes. So I think this is a great time to kind of observe like what they're for all at once, if anyone's curious. Let me put a couple down though, so it's not too difficult to hold. So obviously, let's just start with this fan brush, because this is a unique brush in itself. Blending, I generally have a really tough time. Let me just put this down. I generally have a tough time with this brush, specifically the blender brush. I ruin almost all of my blender brushes. I'm probably not using them right, but they are what the name states, right? You just blend certain surfaces, but they end up getting really stiff, and in general. But this is a very fine badger hair brush. So badger hair does pretty well with oil paints as long as you're able to take care of them. But let's look at some of the other materials, right? You can instantly tell what the differences are. So here is the collection of badger brushes the oil fan brushes I've ruined. So this is a synthetic fiber fan brush. This is one you get at Michael's. As you can tell, it gets like really stiff and stuck if you using that one. But I've used it a couple times. They're really too fine, and if you don't use them right, they can get kind of stiff. So this is my second brush from Rosemary Co. So hopefully I can take better care of it and maintain it, because these brushes are a bit more expensive. But let's go for this other set. So we've got a nice collection here. These are smaller tip brushes that we're going to be working with. Yes, you got these 2 long flat and then a filbert. I guess this is a filbert. Yep, so you got a long filbert right here and a long flat. So I guess these are for much finer details, like if you want to lay down color very gently. Basically, if you're using a badger hair brush, it's such a delicate fine tip. It's so soft, very dense and soft, that you're probably going to be using them specifically for working with really soft, when you're trying to create a soft effect on a paint area. And of course they give us 2 of these fine tip long brushes, so pointed or round brushes. So these always come in handy. I tend to use these a bit rough, and unfortunately a lot of times when I use a round brush, I use them so roughly that the tip starts to kind of come apart. But I try to keep these tips as long as I can, and these are great for a variety of uses. So I guess the 2 thinner brushes, the 4 thinner brushes are here. And let's see. So let's go with these 3. Looks like these are some long flats, or long, what are they called? Let's see, what's the specific? Long combers. They're called combers. A long comber. All right, let's see what's the comber. Trade, taken, follow suit. So, I don't know exactly, to be honest with you, why a brush is called a comber brush compared to just a flat brush. I'm guessing it's thinner, and it looks like just to gently brush over certain surfaces. That's my only guess. Ooh, they got a Richard Schmidt painting from 2014. Oh, cool. So I guess this is Rosemary, and Richard Schmidt painted her. He's a very successful oil paint artist. He actually wrote a book called Alla Prima. And this looks like badger hair as well. And then let's check out these final brushes. So these are all synthetic fiber brushes. All synthetics. Okay, a little bit of fuzz on the side there, but nothing major. I think this is also the one that fell on the floor. But anyway, Amazing brushes, beautifully made. Just look, they look the way they shine. This won't last for very long because as soon as I start painting with them, they're not going to shine no more. But they do maintain their structure. And I'm really looking forward to the synthetic brushes because I'm pretty rough with my paints. But you know, especially these two, the smaller fine tip ones. I'm pretty rough with my paints, so I usually need like a like a synthetic fiber. But this is an interesting filbert. So the tip here, I have to kind of spread out a bit more to get the filbertness. There we go. So the tip looked a little bit angled, but you know, I guess if you open it up a bit, that's just how it was like kind of glued. So if you open up a little bit, it evens out the surface. But anyway, kind of cool. Great set of brushes, and let's go ahead and paint with some of them. So we should probably open them, right? So I'll open this, and you know what? I'm gonna keep them. I'm gonna open them. Take time opening them. Where's that blade? The box blade here. Box cutter. There we go. Box cutter. We go straight up. Straight up. And then up, up, and away. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna hold these, try to keep these in the bags for as long as I can in their pouches, which probably, you know, will be maybe a couple painting sessions. I don't know. So I'll keep them sitting in there in the pouches until I'm ready. This way I could do the job of maintaining their luxuriousness. So keep this in there. I've got this one open, ready to go. I'll probably be using these brushes right away. The fan brush, I don't know. I got to read up on my fan brush technique because there's probably something I'm doing with them that causes them to die so quickly. Or let's see. So this is actually stuck in here because of the way this is designed, which is fine. They use it to add some personality to the brushes. But let's go ahead and toss that. And then open up this fan brush a bit so that I can just pull it out whenever I'm ready. And here we go. So one thing about brushes when you first get them is sometimes there's a glue in them, so they're a little bit stiff. And usually what I do is I use water to kind of soften it. But I feel like I'm not going to do that with this set. I'm going to see what happens if I just kind of go in with some oil and mineral spirits and just work it. So we'll see. But let's go ahead and put these away behind all this, and we're gonna start painting. So just a little unboxing of Rosemary Co brushes here. So here's my little I will share this little collection I've got going on here in a few moments as I reorganize my brushes. So I really got to start separating these brushes into my Rosemary Co brushes versus my regular everyday brushes, especially if I'm going to be getting more of these. Let's see. Let's make sure these brushes are separated. Or at least at minimum, I need to separate my favorite brushes from my my random brushes. So here we go. I'm gonna bring these brushes over here. I don't know how long I'll be able to maintain this organization, but we'll try. Let's see. Do or do not. There is no try, as the great Yoda once said. So in a moment here, I'll share some of my other brushes, and then you can get an idea of like how oil paints affects brushes over the long term. So we've got a couple brushes in here that are Rosemary Co. Yeah. All right, this works. My goodness. Plus dropping them on the floor. All right, well, anyway, here's a small collection of brushes here. And just so those of you wondering, I'm going to share some of the differences, right? You can see some of the bigger brushes are going to have like really the synthetic fibers. The majority of brushes that you get from like the store and stuff are probably going to have synthetic fibers. But definitely, I found that badger hair is pretty rare to find. Or at least you just have to go online to buy them. And this is a little collection of brushes, all sorts of different brushes. These are like some of my earlier brushes. And then now I've definitely moved into more Rosemary Co brushes. Now I will say, what are you doing, kitten? What's up? So my kitten's staring into a little door bin, into a little door area right now. We have a kitten. Look at this. Look at this unusual behavior coming from our kitten right here. So this kitten is just staring into the door. I don't know why. I don't know what he's doing. What are you doing, pal? What is going on there? What is happening? Can you explain what's going on? What are you seeing, huh? What are you seeing over there? Huh? What's up? What's going on outside? What's going on over there? All right, back to painting. Enough kittens. I have plenty to do with them all day long. So, oh yeah, as I was saying, the one thing about these brushes though is that they're very gentle. They're for very gentle textures, whereas I'm a bit of a rough painter. I'm pretty rough with my supplies. So sometimes they can sometimes my brushes can get overused. I'm pretty rough with them. So yeah, if you're a gentle painter, if you're more delicate with the oil paint, which I think a lot of artists are, this is probably a good brush set for you. So anyway, let's see. What brush am I going to start with? Let's start with I'm looking for a thin, my filbert brush, the thin filbert brush here that was here. Here we go. So there's this other set of brushes that I'm looking to get at some point. Mark Maggiore. He's a really great artist. I check out his Instagram. It's MarkMaggiori. But basically what he makes is a bunch of just really thin filbert brushes. That's basically the brushes that he uses supposedly. It's just a lot of really thin filbert brushes. So, well, like ranging in widths actually, but I see the value in just working with filbert brushes because you can be incredibly fine detail with line, but you can also like create some interesting effects. So I guess, let's see, where do I want to start on this painting? I've made all these guys blue, and I'm not really liking this like overall blue palette, so I'm thinking, let's work on this character over here. And instead of a emerald green crown, I think I'm gonna go with a dark royal blue. So, or let's go with a dark royal blue. Let's go with a we're gonna throw in like we're gonna go with, actually, we know what, purple. I'm gonna do like a purple. Let's find a good color to mix these colors with. Get a little bit of red in here, just a tiny bit of red. You know, I still haven't figured out a good purple recipe. Like, it's not as simple as just mixing blue and red. I guess it is, technically, but finding just the right combination of the blue and red to create a purple can be a challenge. So I want to lay down this purple or this blue, and then we're going to grab some white. Do I have any white here? Yes, I got a little bit of white here. And I'm going to grab a palette knife. Here we go. Grab a palette knife here, grab some of this white, and let's see how we can start to create a purple. Oh, okay. First try. Usually it takes me a lot of tries to mix a nice purple, but for whatever reason, it worked out just fine just now. So it's really hard to find a tube purple. I guess I don't see them often. But yeah, we got a nice royal purple right there. Just ultramarine blue with quinacridone. I can never... Quinacridone rose. Ah, that's why. So I usually mix it with a like a cad red, which I think it turns up a little bit different than a quinacridone rose. But hey, we got lucky on a first try. So we're gonna work this painting. Let me dip it in some oil first to start getting it prepared. I think with fresh brushes, the common wisdom is to put them into some oil before you get started so that it can start to get used to having oil on it. They call seasoning it. And I'm actually going to wipe off some of the oil because there's a lot of color in it and nice and seasoned. And let's get this with the purple. So I want to work into the purple here into this crown. So I'm going to work this crown with purple. I want to get all the paint off of this brush first. So here we go. We're going to go work this with the purple. Let's actually go right here and work this with the purple as well. I could probably use a bigger brush for this. Oh my goodness, these brushes, the feeling of a new brush is absolutely amazing because it's like just so smooth. It just goes on so smooth when you have the right brushes. Like the right tools do matter a lot. And I'm not saying like, you know, that a really good brush is the solution to everything, but if you're having troubles with brushes that you're getting from like, you know, just from randomly from the store and you're not really thinking about quality of brushes because maybe you're just starting out or maybe like you're a very rough painter such as myself, it could be worth considering checking out a nice collection from Rosemary Co. I would highly recommend it because you never know, like the feeling of a new brush is just absolutely amazing. Because especially when you work with a lot of different brushes and then you know you've been working with the same brushes for a while and you're kind of like, they're kind of rough, they're starting to lose some of their initial hold, and then you start using like a brand new Rosemary Co brush and it just feels like a whole new experience. Wow. It's like the difference between cutting through a steak with, or let's say cutting through butter with like a nice warm perfectly sharp butter knife versus trying to cut through butter with a butter knife that hasn't been heated and the butter's still cold and the knife is kind of cold too. It's a lot more difficult, but this tends to just spread the butter on nicely. Or oil, I mean oil, right? So oil in general, butter is basically, I might not have the science right, but a type of oil. This is too much fun, just spreading this paint so nice and evenly. You know, when you watch me paint, a lot of times I'm not super like, you know, I don't just gently put the paint on. I usually can be a little rough with them. But basically, I'm painting over this. You know, you can tell right here I was using a different kind of brush, and there's still some texture in it. Whereas this one, this brush, let's get a little bit rougher. You know, let's get back to my regular painting painting style, in that it's not as delicate. But it's funny because it's interesting how a brush, just the brush in itself, can kind of change the way you paint. Because as soon as you lay down to paint, it's like, whoa, that's how this brush works. It's like magic. It's like, oh, okay, so this brush works like this. Maybe I need to adapt my style, and your body just kind of molds in some way. So anyway, this is I'm fascinated by the color of the purple I made. This is the first time I've made a purple that looks right like this. To be honest with you, if you look at, I've done like over 100 paintings live stream on YouTube. You will not find a purple this good on any other painting, a royal purple. So I found a recipe on the first try. I'm absolutely fascinated. When you come to little surprises like these, as an artist or a painter or whatever, it's quite interesting. And you know what? Like mixing, if you're a good color mixer, you should be able to mix pretty much any color. But for whatever reason, prior to this day, the color purple has always evaded me. And fortunately, I found it here. And this purple is kind of unique because it's the only purple on this page. So here we go. We're gonna go down here because this is where the shadows are gonna be. So just creating a sense of dimension now. So starting with our senses of dimension. That's what this is great for. And this is great about having multiple size filbert brushes. I would say if there's any like great brush that was just overall the best type of brush that anyone should get, I would probably say filbert brushes. Like, you know, there's no one rule that fits all, but filbert brushes, like, just let's look at these standard brushes right here. Look at these just standard brushes. If there's a one size fits all brush, I would say it's probably the filbert brush. Because, okay, look at this brush right here. Let's just start with this point, this fine long brush here. It's a point. The only thing you're really ever going to use point for is super fine details. What's up, Marks? Is a dioxazine purple. Okay, well, I have to look into that. Yeah, you know, it's funny. Earlier I said that that's hard to find purples in stores, but that's so wrong. It's just that I've never really looked for purple in stores because I usually just pick the primaries. But anyway... So if you're using one of these really thin brushes, it's crazy because you're only going to use it for like these fine details. But even a good filbert brush is going to have such a thin tip that you're going to be able to do the work of a fine point brush for the most part, right? Like if I need to carve a nice line into this eye to create a crease or something, I can either use a filbert brush or I can use a long brush. And at the same time, for another example, if I need a flat edge, like flat edges, they're actually really difficult to use unless you're doing paint that has a lot of flat edges, which, you know, I guess a lot of abstract work would require that, or you're trying to create like a texture, like, or a brush stroke that's like very edgy and like angled. But filbert brushes can do the job of a flat point, like, you know, flat brush as well. And you can even do curved edges much better. So that's why I think Mark Maggiore has this brush set, and I think it's absolutely amazing. By the way, I gotta show these kittens again. Look how freaking cute they are right now. Let's take a look at these kittens. Look at them. Can you see them sleeping together? They're hugging right now. They are hugging. I gotta go bury my face in some kittens right now. They are smushed together. Hey, you two. Hey, dude. How goofy are you, huh? This on a head for you? Yes. Cute little kittens, my goodness. Everyone should foster kittens and adopt kittens. or adopt adult cats and foster kittens, or both. Huh. They're so cute. Now these kittens we're fostering them right now. They're going to be available for adoption in Los Angeles. So if you want to adopt a kitten and you're in Los Angeles, you can message me for details. So here we go, going down with this brush. Oh yes, earlier I grabbed all these brushes, but look, these are 3 different size filberts, and basically you could capture just about any size from massive faces to nice, thin, interesting brush strokes. So anyway, that's that. I probably will only use 1 or 2 of the brushes today as I build out this purple. But let's see how we're going to do this. Got this. Need to figure out how I'm going to design this this part here. Let's I'm going to cover this with purple as well, but you know what? I'm going to brave it out and add a little bit of black into this purple here. We're going to create a much darker version of this. As we go into the shadows. So hello Mark, how are you doing? You have any random wisdom to share with us for the day? Any of life secrets or life hacks? I've got a great life hack, but I think it was used. It's been used so much that it's no longer a life hack. Have you ever experienced that? Like something that used to work, but because of abuses, it just doesn't really work anymore. So my example was going to be, if you ever are on a call and you press 0 on that call, like for customer service, you're more likely to get passed forward, or you'll get passed directly to the next level in line. So I think that's actually an outdated thing. It doesn't work like that anymore. But it's good to know, right? Who doesn't like to know that? So here we go. We're going to go with the purple on top of this blue. We're going to keep pretty much the faces blue, but let me go ahead in with some shadow here. Let's grab this palette knife color and grab some of our shadow. And we're going to go into the shadow around to create some design. All right. And I really like this purple, so I'm going to add some purple elsewhere too. Let me find a good spot for this purple. But the only catch though is with this brush, I don't know if it's going to work that well. I don't know if this purple is going to work with this brush because why? Because. Oh, I know, a spot right here. Use this purple. This purple might not work well because, why was I gonna say? I don't know. I had a reason for the purple not working well. Oh yeah, because it's so like cohesive with all this green. But I think a little purple won't hurt. Oh yeah, maybe I should do purple lips. Should I do some purple lips here? What will I do with this purple? Let's try some purple lips and purple shadows on some of these bodies. So let's see, we're gonna go As you can tell, I'm quite excited about my newfound discovery of using purple. This is a new addition to my color palette. And that is something that's amazing about the about about filbert brushes. That's one thing that's great about filbert brushes is that they're like this great for curves, right? Just like these curves of the lips. So here we go. We're gonna go down in here as well. I'm gonna add some green lips. And then I think this area needs some purple as well. And let's see, we're gonna go around and add purple lips to this character here. And here we go. So let's bring some purple lips into this figure here. You know what? I think I made this a little too tall, because when I do this, I have to like really bring my arms up. I don't even know if this is even helping, honestly. Let's see. Pop this down a little bit. And let's see. So if I'm gonna do the lips are gonna come right about. That's the mouth. And the top lips are going to come down right around here at the top of the lip. See how that looks. Painting from an angle makes it a little awkward, but I think this would be a bit less of a crease. All right, we're gonna leave that there for now. I think the lip needs to be a bit thinner, or we might leave it. We might make it as if this character has these funny lips. We're just gonna leave him with funny lips. I don't know, we'll see. We may change. But here we go. What can we go in with purple? We're gonna do some dark purple shadows. So I wanna grab this, grab some black for this. And I want to make this piece kind of pop a little bit darkened. Rather than having a green color, we're going to make her with a dark purple shadow so that we can separate these two figures here. Let's go down like right here, and I created the shape that's going to come out like so. And we're going to come down right around here, bring this shadow down just around the side of this breast right here. Get a nice curve because the front's still in shadow. And then we need the fine shadow as we go around. This is a bit of a confusing area here. There we go. And I'm going to come down with this detail. Around for the front of the stomach. And carve that around for the front of the stomach. Curve this forward a bit, right there. Create some angles in here. And let's see, so here we go. We'll have to work with this section a bit later, but we have established a nice little shadow going around. I feel like I've discovered fire with this shade of purple. So here we go. We're gonna go down into here, carve down a bit further, like so. And I also feel like this is such a great discovery. This purple color is because another reason is because I feel like it's going to be great for shadow work when I do more shadows on this piece. I mean, it is great for shadow work, but as I work deeper, as I work in the future, it's definitely going to be very helpful. So here we go. What else can I paint purple? I should paint this body part purple right here. Gotta give this body part some purple look. So this is gonna be purple. Let's give it a light purple. We need, actually we're gonna mix a blue into this. I guess that'll give this more of a gray. So let's go into here. Grab this color again, and we're going to go in like so. And here we go. I'm going to go up with this. And there we have that. So a little bit of a roundness there that we're going to capture. And we can add a little bit of a darker black into here. We're going to go around into this shadow to make it a darker shadow to create some multiple dimensions within this body part here. Alexa, tell me about Trona, California.
Trona is a small town located in San Bernardino County, California. It is a census-designated place, CDP, with a small population of around 14 people.
14 people, holy crap.
Geography and proximity to the San Bernardino Mountains. The town is surrounded by stunning natural landscapes, including the Trona Pinnacles and the Searles Valley. Trona is also a popular destination for outdoor enthusiasts, offering opportunities for hiking, camping, and exploring the nearby wilderness. Did that answer your question?
Alexa, yes.
Thanks for your feedback.
You're welcome. All right. So that's enough of that, and we're getting some nice shadows into here. Creating some nice dark separation. We're going to go in with the black now too. We're going to create our separation even denser. Create an even denser separation. So right there. Just going to curve around right into here. And then from there we're going to go down. So basically just we created a little dark edge here which will start to mold and modify into the rest of the painting later. But for now It just serves as a bouncing off point for the darkest part of our painting, which is the crease, this crease area here. And you know what? I need another dark shadow right into here. Actually, probably not. This is probably going to be all in light. Okay, so that's going to be in light. That's going to be in this, just a bit of light. So here we go. Maybe if we start to bring this up. Start to merge this and bring this forward here. Okay. And what we got to do now with this color is I'm going to bring it into this section. So it looks like there's a body part here. So I'm not going to paint into that, but I will go into here with a, let's grab some of this purple and let's go into here. Oh my goodness. So what's going on in my head right now is that this brush is absolutely amazing. I am loving this brush. And although I'm talking about all these like technical things, like about the painting, like why I'm doing certain colors, it's hard to share with you the sensations that my hand is having with these brushes. And you know, it's really hard to explain because I guess it's hard to share my tactile experience with you, which I would love to do, because just using this brush and being able to create these fine line, this fine separation between all the different spaces, it's not an experience I've had in a while, because as you could tell, look at how big my brushes are, right? This is the majority of my brush collection is really rough, hard, big brushes. So I started off with some really big brushes, and to finally have a really good small brush like this, a small filbert. And it's not that I haven't ever used a small filbert before. I have, but let me show you some of my other small filbert brushes. That's why it helps to have a long handle. But this is one of my small filbert brushes. But as you can tell, the handle's really small, and the handle can really, I mean, you know, it's average size, I guess. But like, you know, the when you're balancing these two brushes, it just feels different. And you could tell that this brush was very dense, and it's obviously a synthetic fiber, but I feel like the quality on our Rosemary Co brush is much different. So this is like, you know, the brush that you get super discounted at Michael's. This is a Rosemary Co brush, and they feel totally different. I will say maybe when I first used this, it almost felt the same, but this has like a thinness, right? If a brush is too dense, if it's very thick like this, if it's really dense, it's gonna feel different, because it's like when you're laying down a brush, it just feels thick and dense. Whereas this one, because it's thinner, I think of the design, it helps it to have this more flexibility. So it adds to the tactile sensation when you're painting with this, that not only are you using really soft paint that just lays on so nice, but the way the brush is interacting with the canvas is pretty nice. As you can tell, I'm a very tactile person. And yeah, I'm a very tactile person. So these little like I would be the princess that if I slept on a pea, I would be able to feel it. Yes. The princess and the pea, if anyone knows that story. But yeah, just very tactile. And like these subtle changes are very interesting to me. and I can notice them. And I would never be a princess, but in a hypothetical situation, if I was in the story The Princess and the Pea, yes, I would be able to tell the difference between. And you know what? I'm going to need more white. I'm going to need more white. Oh, you know what? No, that might not work. So I'm going to need more white. Let me grab some more white. But yeah, the right brush can make quite a difference. And here we go. So I'm going to grab some of this white here. I've since lost a bit of the purple, which I'm not too happy with. So I'm going to try to grab some of this purple again. And I want for a cleaner, lighter purple version of purple here. Yeah, okay. This is so exciting to have this brush. Like to have a brush that I can like create a nice crisp sharp edge like this, it's very new to me. Like I've had brushes that can create fine edges, but like they're super they are sometimes trying to find the right words while you're painting is a challenge, but they're big. Yes, as I was mentioning, a lot of the brushes that I use are big and they don't feel the same way. But it's also been a while since I bought a new set of brushes. When I first started painting, I was getting like a new set of brushes like every couple of weeks, or maybe every couple of days actually. I was just buying tons and tons of brushes every like week or two. Every few days I would just go to Michael's and pick up like a brush. But it's been a couple months. And here we have it. So we're gonna make sure that we paint right into this. Oh my goodness. This brush is just amazing. I love it. Whew. It sends chills down my spine, this brush. So I'm going to use my palette knife to mix this color here that I've got. And we're going to go for a nice fine purple. We're just going to brush across. Oh. It truly feels like, I don't know how many times I can like repeat this, but to be able to just like carve around this edge like nice and smooth and crisp and just create this great separation, it feels great. And it's not easy to do with like a regular brush. Like here's how I would do it without this brand new Rosemary Co brush. I probably have maybe a brush like this. I'd probably be using, oh, that's a Rosemary Co brush. So I'd probably be using either, let's see, let me find a good brush for this. I'd probably be using either this brush, or this brush, which I'm about to show you. I'm just talking out loud here, or like, if I was doing this without these brushes, I'd probably be using one of these brushes. Not the perfect tools for what I'm doing, right? So these were originally round brushes with really sharp points. Now I just use them for general brushwork. But you know what would happen is if I was trying to carve into this hair or this corner right here, part of the brush would possibly poke out. You know, you could see some of the brushes, and once you kind of push it apart, it kind of becomes unpredictable almost, right? Like it's predictable how it's going to turn out, But at the end of the day, you're still going to get like this splayed out effect from the brush. And of course, it's not because of this brush quality. I think this is a really good brush quality. This is a Princeton brush. It's a pack. And I really love the actual bristles, but I've used it so much, I've used it so roughly that it is splayed out. And because I don't have another really nice filbert brush, a thin filbert brush, then I would probably use this brush. And I can't really carve out these edges very nicely with a thin filbert. So when I say that I am totally excited about having this brush, that is why. And you know what? This isn't even like, this is just one of many brushes. I mean, this is probably just happens to be the perfect brush for what I'm trying to do right now. Because any bigger and I'm covering too much space, any smaller, I'm not getting enough coverage. So, you know, just good timing on this brush. And just have to share. This is one thing I learned from James Cameron. So I don't know if any of you have ever had the chance to meet James Cameron. Now, I didn't get to speak with him personally, but I did get to see him at a panel during Avatar 2. So there's a special industry panel for Avatar 2. And he was there. And the only time I've ever seen anything about James Cameron prior to this, I've never watched one of his interviews. I've never seen him talk. So when I finally saw him on the panel, I was absolutely blown away at his personality. Now, because like, you know, what usually happens when I see celebrities is it's usually like, you know, a little photo on Facebook, a little square photo, a 60 pixel by 60 pixel photo. I'm making that number up. I don't know if it's actually 60 pixel, but 60 pixel by 60 pixel photo on Facebook, and it shows them with like a quote, a news article about something they said or something they did. That's the only thing I ever saw about James Cameron. James Cameron explored the ocean. James Cameron is telling people to stop making fun of the door in Titanic. James Cameron did this. James Cameron made $1 billion, right? So that's the only thing I've ever known about James Cameron. I've never actually listened to him talk. Until this industry event, when I finally got to see James Cameron talking, I was literally blown away because James Cameron, when you see him describe what happened, what's happening, going on in like, so the question that someone asked him was something like, can you go over like what this experience was like when designing all of the art and the set for Avatar 2? And as soon as James Cameron started talking, he went into so much detail in describing describing the people involved and like what it was like when he brought you into the experience of making the movie of Avatar, and like you could visually see what he was explaining. And it was up until this point that I was like, wow, that's why James Cameron is one of the highest paid, highest grossing directors on the planet. I mean, obviously, yes, he gets really good scripts. That helps a lot. But how does he reach that point? It's probably because of his ability to draw a person in by detailing how something's going to be done, and not only having the vision, right? Of course, he's got to have a vision. A lot of people can explain things and not have a vision, but he just had this amazing ability of bringing you in to, he wasn't even telling it, I mean, I guess he was telling a story, but he wasn't telling the story of Avatar 2. He was just talking about like the filmmaking process, the technical parts of it, which, you know, in general would be kind of boring. But somehow he made it absolutely fascinating and really drew you in with the explanation. Like somebody who is not part of the technical team could still get it. And it was from that moment when I was like, that is why James Cameron is an amazing, like, storyteller. He wasn't I mean, obviously he's got great stories, but like, for the average person to listen to James Cameron talk, or like if you're in a studio with him trying to understand something, I feel like if you wanted somebody to explain a vision to you, and it's a very complicated vision, you would want to have James Cameron on your side explaining it, because he just literally drew you in and left no detail unturned. And you know, sometimes some people can over detail a story and that's kind of boring, but because it was James Cameron, I feel like I was so curious about what made James Cameron James Cameron, and with this experience, I could see, I could literally witness before my eyes why James Cameron was so successful, and that's since then I've been inspired to go into more detail when I'm experiencing things. So that's why I went into so much detail regarding this tactile sensation that I'm having. So I hope I'm not saying anything inappropriate by saying something in a different language. I wish YouTube had a translation device. I mean, I guess Google has a translation device. So kids who do stuff I don't speak, I don't know what language that is. Is that it looks like a Nordic language. It doesn't look like German, it looks Nordic. But lately, I've made the decision that I'm not going to just give random shout outs or repeat everything that someone puts into the chat, because some people just have some ridiculous things that that they try to trick you into saying. And those trolls are horrible people. Like, it used to be that I guess people would call into a bar and it would be a prank, which is whatever, but it has since evolved into an entire broadcast, a global broadcast system. And because of that, there's some things that you don't want to put out there. So anyway, here we go. We're going to extend this shadow out a bit. So I'm going to make the effort to add a little, extend the shadow here. We're going to try to extend the shadow out because it needs to be. And that is my story of when I got to see James Cameron in person. And I will say he's an absolutely incredibly engaging person. If you ever have to ask why James Cameron is successful, you really got to watch him talk about the work. It's an incredible, fascinating sight. Incredible and fascinating auditory experience. Because, a lot of people who explain things, they kind of and I think all it really comes down to is communication, right? Like a lot of people explain things and, they kind of just assume that you know what they're talking about. And I think that's a failure of communication when people just assume that, even in an industry. So it was an industry event, right? So you have all these tech people, you have people doing costumes, people who work with these machines, people who know all the terms, the lingo. James Cameron could have gone yeah, so we work with this machine, and then we got this done, and he could totally just use industry lingo the whole time, but still somehow me as a everyday viewer, listener who was not a technical creative person on a major Hollywood film, I could still understand what he was saying, which was great. So here we go. Nice roundness here. That's one thing, is if I ever feel the need to explain something, I realize that I should do it by engaging all of the senses. All of it. All of these senses. So I've realized that I need to come up with this a bit. Let's go with a bit more of the black. And we're going to carve this, and this shadow is going to come around to create a nice little roundness here. All right, so I've overworked this area, maybe. I probably got to come back to it later. But let's keep going. So I finally decided, so I wanted to use up the rest of this purple because there's so much of it. But at some point I need to go in with my yellows. I want to create a golden crown, a purple, gold on purple crown. I'm trying to figure out where else I can figure out how to use this purple nicely. There's a set of lips somewhere on this painting. I don't know where it is. It's hidden. Even to me, I've hid it from myself. And I've even hid it from myself. So, if only I could find out where that is. That is one thing that's a little bit challenging about this painting, is I try to do too much in this painting. I try to do a lot in one painting. And I will have to navigate that. That is the challenge to the artist. But that's what I signed up for. That's exactly why I decided to do this painting, is because I wanted to challenge myself with a overly complex painting. And when I say overly, right, everything is subjective. And when I say overly, the reason why I feel it's overly is because there's this idea called Gestalt. It's actually a word, Gestalt, Gestalt. And basically what it means, for those of you that aren't familiar, before I go into the long-winded thoughts on Gestalt, but basically what it means is that individual things are usually, or I might have this definition wrong, but the individual parts of something, when people view things or view things, they view it as a whole rather than an individual thing. So a whole is greater than the sum of the individual parts. I think that's like the appropriate definition. So a whole is always greater than the individual parts. And what that means, in my view, is that as far as art goes, you know, having too much detail in art is not only unnecessary, well, basically that's the whole idea, is that it is unnecessary, right? Because no matter what, if you look at a face, if you're an artist and you're painting a face, or if you're somebody who's seeing a painting of a face, you're not going to look at that face and be like, oh, look at every single hair that this person made. Until you look at a beautiful painting, you're like fascinated by it, you're sitting there, you're staring at it, and then you're really looking at it for the detail, and then you're like, you know, after like 30 seconds to a minute, you're finding detail after detail after detail. Right? But the painting itself has to capture your attention first. And that would be the missing element. That would be the most important element. And in most cases, in my opinion, based on the concept of Gestalt, is that you don't need that much detail to create a nice painting. Like, look at the Campbell's tomato soup can. Beautiful, amazing, popular artwork, but, you know, it doesn't have so much detail that it's like, you know, you can look at it for hours and find new things. So I'm not sure how I feel about these lips, but at least I've established somewhere that there are lips. And what I want to do now is I want to create a more saturated purple. So some of these purples have been grayed out a little bit. They become more gray. So what I want to do is I want to take another body part somewhere. I think this will do. Trying to find the right angle that I painted this. I believe this is also one of the backs. Yes, this is one of the backs. All right, so this is the back. So we're gonna go right into here. I want a nice saturated purple again. Nice deep saturated purple. We're just gonna go into here with our lights. And here we go. So bring this down on the lower back here, carve out our purple. And here we go. So carving out some shadow. Eventually we will add more detail, but for now, just trying to create the environment to do so. And honestly, if I had known that I was going to create this purple earlier, I probably wouldn't have laid in this green, because it's almost kind of like a waste. Like, hey, I'm going in with purple. There's no need for this green right now, since I'm just painting on top of it. And you know what? I don't think this I don't think this green is enough to also change the overall color appearance. Because sometimes what you would do if you're using oil paints is you would use a color like green, for example. You'd use the color green and use that for what's called an underpainting. So for those of you not familiar with painting, an underpainting is like, let's just call it like an underlayer of paint. Makes sense, right? And what that can do for some painting is that it can create a totally different experience based on what you paint on top. So let's say you use like green as your main color underneath, and then you use like a yellow that's like more transparent. So you can see in this yellow that you kind of see through it, right? I don't know if you can see that, but you could basically see through it, and you can see some of the green popping through. Whereas this purple, you can't really see the green popping through. Or maybe it has like a very subtle effect of like darkening on the area compared to the white. Like it can have that subtle effect, but it's not as pronounced as, say, if I was using like a really transparent yellow and painting on it. So there is that element, but as far as the idea of a wasted paint goes, I feel like this green isn't going to be showing through in the majority of areas as much as I thought it would be initially. So here we go. We're just going to go in with this purple and just do this blending thing that we've been doing. This is a nice contrast between this yellow, this ochre color, and this ochre color, and our ochre color and our purple. So I might as well just fill this section with all this empty space with our purple, and I'll just darken it afterwards. Or maybe what I could do is I could add a little bit of this teal and kind of like add some dimension to it with some other colors here. Let's add some yellow. Actually, yellow might just make it gray. I don't know if I want that. So let's try it. What happens when we mix a yellow into a purple? The expectation supposedly is that it's supposed to go gray, but yeah, I kind of did gray it out a little bit, or browned it out. So when you mix two opposing colors or complementary colors, basically opposite colors of the color wheel, they usually make a neutral color. So if you want something to stand out, you got to mix like a near color that's near it. But all my greens and blues, for whatever reason, make them so dark. Let me see if I can pull some white. Let me add some of this white here. White is my solution to everything. If I need some more variety of color, I'll pull out a white. So here we go. Now, what can we do here? This purple. So many things on this painting. Okay. We'll just have to go with the darker now. Let's go into the shadows here. That purple, and we're gonna start to establish some of our shadows. So carving out the shadow. We're going to carve this up right here. And this is great. This is perfect. And how can we sharpen this shadow? So we're going to sharpen this area right here. It's going to be a little bit right like that. Just like that. That's how we're going to sharpen it. You know what? Originally I was thinking, oh, well, you know, I'm going to totally paint and have all of these details of like this human body pop out. But you know what? Maybe it's better that later somebody discovers and goes, oh, that's actually a back. That's actually somebody's back. Just hidden in this painting. I like that idea. So we're going to stick with that. But here we go. We're going to paint it down using our shadow to just create something a little bit darker, to create the separation in this part of the body right here. And that's what we're doing. Just creating dimension. Like that's all dimension is when you're painting. All you need to do in order to create separation of the body part is pretty much, to simplify it, use a darker color with a lighter color. Like that's it. And that's how you create like something turning. Now that's a simplified, super simplified explanation, but Like if you just take white and put it in the center, and then take the color black and just like swirl it around the white and just like slowly brush it around, you're gonna create something that looks like a sphere. It's gonna transform into a sphere. It's gonna create the illusion of roundness. And you can also use this trick. It's not really a trick. The trick of creating dimension by using different colors. So like if you use like, you know, red, instead of changing the darkness or lightness of a color, you just change the overall change the overall you change the, instead of changing the lightness or darkness of it, you change the overall dimension by just using different colors. That's what I wanted to say. But it does require some knowledge of the rules. Whew, okay. And here we go. So, I'm gonna bring this down, bring this purple down, keep going down with these shadows. This is a shadow that needs to come down. All right, that looks a bit like a back, right? Or am I fooling myself? If I'm fooling myself, that means it's working. All right, so here we go. At least for now, I'm gonna leave this. And this might need to come down a little lower, but at least we have something here. And that's one great thing about painting, if anyone's looking to get into it, is pretty much the idea that like you have almost infinite time. And by infinite time, I mean as long as you can live, as long as you can be alive, you can modify a painting. You could change the way it looks. That's one great thing about painting. Nothing is ever as it seems. Nothing is ever permanent, I should say. All right, so with this brush, I've definitely had the opportunity to create some more edges, which are helping to establish the finer parts of this painting. This is going to need a lot of work. A lot of these like bodies here, like this is a body part. I'm going to need to work on that. I'm going to need to work on this back. But slow process. This will probably take many more live streams. I think this painting will probably take at least another like 20 hours maybe. 20 hours. It's going to take a bit. So, let's see. What do I want to do right here now? I want to what should I do right now? Oh. because of this purple, I feel like now that I've added this purple, I kind of have to put it into this painting in some more ways. Hey, what are you doing, kitten? Go be kitten somewhere else. Not by my feet. All right, so kind of have to figure out how to navigate these sections. So what the heck is this? That's a body part. So let's go like this. We're gonna go. This purple is great. I love it. We're gonna go. What is this? Oh yeah, okay. So this is one of the legs here. So we're gonna go like so. And then this part is gonna go like bam. Let's grab some blue. Some of this beautiful little blue. So I can already see, I can already imagine what someone, a critic will say, is that there's not enough consistency throughout this painting. Like this is a whole bunch of different techniques kind of thrown into one. But maybe that's my thing. I don't know yet. We'll see. And here we go. We're gonna go, let's lay down some definitions, some defining things to establish this thing right here. So I want to find where the shadows are. And have some shadows around here, right around the top edge here. Get the rest of the colors here. Create a little dimension and then some more dimension around the center. So it's going to go like just like that. And then we're going to go very impressionist and create like a dark outline. A very dark outline. Or just a darker outline. And here we go. Oh yeah, so I left this space open for a shadow. Perfect. Sometimes I feel like painting. I don't know if anyone's ever seen the movie Memento. Great movie. Pierce, I forget his name. Pierce something. Guy Pearce is the actor. Amazing movie, but it's basically about this guy who can't remember everything that happens throughout the day. He basically forgets until the next morning. Like, or when as soon as he goes to sleep, he forgets everything. And he's trying to discover the person who murdered his wife. And that's like the premise of the movie, but it is so well filmed because it basically gets filmed backwards. So I don't want to spoil too much, but basically it's filmed backwards from the moment that he figures out the crime to the beginning of how he came about it. Amazing movie, brilliant storytelling, and keeps you on the edge of your seat. Great movie, highly recommend it. And I just want to say that, like, obviously, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because he has to leave these clues for himself. Like, you know, each day he had to like look on his body and then like figure out a clue that explains how to get closer to the killer or figure out who it was. And obviously there's all this crazy stuff that happens, but and eventually he tries to figure it out, of course, but he leaves these clues. And sometimes I feel like that when I'm painting is I leave clues for myself of what I was supposed to do or expecting myself to do. It's exciting like that, right? All right, so added these purple shadows. I don't really know if it's adding or taking away, but go ahead in with this white here. Maybe a little bit of yellow. Let's do this white yellow mixture here. Let's throw this into our section. All right, I think it added a little something, little detail. I'll go with this one too. Let's go bring this into here. Adds a little to the blue. Add some subtle details, and then we're gonna go right down into here. Carve this up. And I think a little bit here we can actually start speeding this process up, but the hard part really is just establishing a lot of the details. So one thing, you know, there's a couple ways to go about this, of course. Either you could just like start going straight into it and like just wildly painting everything, which is something I wouldn't be opposed to doing, or you can kind of like go in and put like a color that you're going to help use to establish a lot of things, and then you could just work from there. And you could either get messy or you could get super fine detailed or whatever. So I haven't really established, like, one thing about modern painting is the technique, right? So a lot of like really nice art that you see nowadays, it's like super fine, right? Every edge is perfect. There's every like hair and whatever is sharp and crisp. And the way that art is created usually is basically that there is usually the artist, what they do is they'll come up with a design maybe ahead of time, and then they'll sketch it out with like a pencil. Maybe they'll either trace it or use some type of device to project the idea onto it. So my painting is I sketched everything with paint. So that's going to create a much rougher painting compared to a very tight painting that's like sketched out with pencil. So with like pencil, I could paint up to, if I know the exact colors, and it still requires a lot of technique and skill to know how to do this. I just don't do it. But you know, you paint up to the very, very, very edge, and you know exactly where you're going to stop. You know exactly what color you're going to use, and you know that's how a lot of painters nowadays do it, and that's how you get some of these really crisp paintings. Is they'll just use one pure color with another pure color into another pure color, and just creates these beautiful pieces that are just super tight and great. But that was just I just wanted to share that process, but that's not necessarily the process I'm using, obviously. So here we go. I've got so much purple paint on this. Let me get rid of some of this purple paint. And I'm going to clean this brush off a little bit. Clean this brush off. Also, the other problem that I have with this painting specifically is that usually what I like to do when I'm painting is if I have excess paint on a brush, I like to put it onto the canvas. But that usually only works well. Actually, I haven't tested it out yet on something like this, but that works really well when you have like background, when you have like a lot of negative space that you need to fill, which I don't on this painting. Everything here is something, right? It's something that needs to be painted, everything here. And because of that, I don't have the same level of freedom to do that thing that I just mentioned. So anyway, I'm gonna clean this palette knife off. Everything is something. None of it is like negative space. What are you doing, kitten? You gonna fight the palette knife? Is that what you're here for? Fighting the palette knife? All right, so palette knife away. Let's go on. Oh yeah, I was gonna do this. I need to scrape off some paint boogers. So this is a paint booger right here. It's like an area of paint that when you took it off the canvas, it was kind of dry already. So you get like these little things. And sometimes it can add character to your painting, but other times you don't really want it on. If you don't want it on there, you shouldn't have it on there, right? But solution is simple, depending on how you paint. The solution is simple. It's just going in with the, see like that? That would mess it up, but fortunately it shouldn't be too difficult to fix that area. So at some point I'm just gonna need to go back and paint on top of that. But just like little pieces of paint that kind of pop off the surface that don't really need to be there. Let's see, where else? Usually what will happen is you'll see it as you're like, it's good if you're aiming to add dimension to your painting and your painting has a lot of like textures on them and things you can feel and touch, even though ironically, no one ever makes a textured painting that they allow people to touch. I totally made that up. There's probably a lot of artists that allow people to touch their paintings, but in general, especially if it gets into a gallery, they don't really allow you the freedom to touch people's paintings, but in general, all right. Trying to think of what else I can or should do right now. I need to get back to working on this head, one head at a time. I got so caught up being excited with this brush that I totally got distracted on what I aimed to do. What I think I should do now is let's go back to this head. Because the painting's wet, I can't really grip it from the painted areas. I gotta look for the wet areas that are hopefully dry so that I can flip it. And let's work on this dude. So I have a lot of crazy things going on here, which need some work. So even this brush, it used to be a nice fine point brush, but it has since been flared out. That is my biggest struggle with painting, is keeping brushes like nice and pointy. And I think a lot of I'm probably not the only artist that struggles with that. I'm sure a lot of painters do. But I feel like I want to change the color of the sky. Maybe I should go with like a muted purple or something. What should I do? I'm in thinking mode right now. You know what I gotta do first is I gotta edit this section right here. So let's go into here and just bring some paint down some of the hair to cover up this little section that I had that was. There we go. Okay. I really want to focus on using the warm colors to kind of make certain areas pop. So I don't want to overuse the warm colors. So maybe I will keep these spaces with like blues. Blues and greens. Cleaning off my brush. And let's go with here. I just want to avoid having it this exact same color because it's a different color crown. So I'm trying to think how I can modify this crown. And before I do that, let's oh, hey. What are you doing? Talking to the cats. I'm not talking. I've got kittens. I swear I'm not talking to an imaginary thing that's running around in my house, in my apartment. We're talking to kittens here. They grabbed something. I wasn't sure what it was. So here we go. Thinking through what I need to do next. I have a couple things. Either I could start one of these things at a time and just finishing it. Or I can actually do other things and finish them. Decisions. Okay, I'm gonna get a smaller brush here. And we're gonna go into here. I need to finish this. I could easily finish this body part right now so that we at least have something consistent. Which, hard to really say consistent because colors are already different. Let's go here, and we're gonna add the shadows. Some nice dark shadows. I think that's also what I need to do. Work on adding some nice dark shadows into these body parts. So why am I working sideways? I can actually work on these horizontally. or vertically. This is vertical, not horizontal. By the way, if you ever feel like you have too small of a space to paint, like you're only working out of one room, or like you just don't feel like you have enough space, I highly, highly recommend getting yourself an easel like this, because this is like a huge studio in one. I keep everything pretty much on or around this easel. Like I keep my paint set here, I keep all my extra paints behind it. I don't need a desk. I've got all my paintbrushes in the back with like cleaning supplies, the art clean, the mineral spirits and oil. So I've got all these tools right at my within arm's reach. And I do stand when I paint. I would not be able to sit when I'm painting, because I would be squirming like crazy. Because I constantly need to like move around and like kind of like look at things from different angles and you know, be able to maneuver. I don't know how an artist could just sit and paint. Just like when I'm painting, my mind is racing like so quickly. My mind is literally just racing with ideas of what I need to do, where I need to, what part I need to paint. So here we go. We're going for this darker color here. I probably should just try using one of the new brushes that I got. That's what they're there for, right? Like, why wouldn't you use a new brush? But no, I'm not going to right now. Just in my comfort zone with this brush. It's a rough brush. And honestly, the only goal right now is just to darken the shadows here. So I don't really need a really serious brush. Really new brush. I'm just going for these really dark shadows. And here we go. So keep this going here. And this is the area where I actually need to get a little bit more gentle, because I need to create a very unique separation of the belly button. It's actually not too bad. Alright. Good job, Emmett. Sometimes you gotta pat yourself on the back. When you can't have somebody patting you on the back for you, you gotta do it yourself. And nice little curve. That creates some dimension. I like that. I like the way that looks. What do you think? What do you all think? YouTube? World? We're adding dimension. That's what we're doing. Adding dimension by just deepening some shadows. That's it. Deepening some shadows by adding a section of dark. Section of darker shadows. That is all we're doing here. I will improve on those shadows later, but at least we have this. And now we're going to go in with this dark green again. And I really love how these shadows turn out. I'm very happy with them. But I still need to create some shadows, so I'm going to bring some into here. Alright, who wants to see some kittens? I need a little mental break right now. I know everybody wants to see kittens. What are you doing, little guy? Here we go. You're gonna see some kittens, some of our young friends here. What's up? This guy's name is Scout. Why you got boogers in your eye? Boogers in your eye, dude. Clean yourself. You must groom. You gotta be grooming, man. Look how cute he is. He's purring. He's the chill one of the two. There's a brother and sister. He doesn't mind being picked up, and when you pick him up, he sometimes just kind of like falls asleep. Like if you give him a shoulder to sleep on, he'll kind of just chill out. And I love how his hair. He's got like white hairs growing out, but it's not like white hair. He doesn't have patches. It's just like little bits of white hair. It's kind of cute. I mean, it is very cute. It's not kind of cute. It's very cute. He's a very cute little kitten. Who has a cat that they remember their little kitten days, huh? Yes, but he's up for adoption. He's not my cat. I'm fostering him. All right? You're being fostered. Somebody put you in front of the animal shelter in a box with all your other kitten brothers and sisters, and 8 of them. Now you got to deal with us. All right, let's see the other one. What are you doing under the box? Come here. No going under the box. Gotta hang out somewhere else. And then, what's going on? Omizu Paints. Hello, Kitten Scout. Oh, what's on your face? Little fuzz. You got a fuzz on your face, kitten. Get that fuzz out of your face. This one, we've named Pookie. She is a, I guess they call it, her nails are still so sharp. God, she does not want to be carried. Hey, little, there you go. Anyway, she's a tortoiseshell. She is the crazy one that loves to be, that doesn't love to be held. So I'm gonna let you down. Go scratch something. So what's up, Omizu? How are you? I need to go wash my hands and get a drink of water. I'm gonna go wash my hands, get a drink of water, and then come back because it's been 2 hours since I've had a moment. Be right back, Omizu. Hey, get out of here. There's no reason. Go, 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 go. Go, go, go. Oh. Y'all did not need to hear that. But I am back. So just discovered my channel earlier today. Caught one of my vids from a few weeks ago. Well, thank you for taking the effort to finally say hi. I can see some of your works. You have interesting characters, I think, right? You have a unique character. Is that a unique character, or is that a painted version of somebody else's, or what is that? Someone in a bear costume. It's great when you could be an artist that comes up with a very unique character, like Cause or Takashi Murakami, or there's this Korean artist. I think she's a Korean artist. Maybe it's a guy, but he makes these like characters with these like really big heads, and they're kind of cartoony, but they're also like but they're really nicely painted. They have like really big eyes. I don't know her name or his name, but it's great when you create characters because then you can build an entire. Oh, this needs to be that way, because then you can build an entire thing off of them. You don't need to see my whole apartment. My apartment goes straight down. All right, so, whew. All right, this painting is quite an adventure. So far, I think we're at about 15, somewhere between 15 and 20 hours of working on this painting. Just the sketch took about 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours. The design and placement of everything, it took about 5 hours. This guy's nose is too long compared to where his mouth is, but I think the shadow kind of pulls it away, which is okay. Anyway, let's go. Let's finish this. I think she's finished. She just needs a couple little areas that. Let me use one of our new brushes here. Yes, we're using a new brush. New oil brush from Rosemary Co. So it looks so great. C-Bond 2. Am I using reference? Yes. So I use all of these heads are a reference. So every single one of these heads is based off of a traditional, a classical art drawing book. So by classical, I mean it was originally made in the 1800s, published in the 1800s. So originally published in the 1800s, actually by, so Vincent, I don't know if you know this, but Vincent van Gogh, his brother and his family was like an art family. So they had a gallery or an art dealer company called Goupil and C. So Goupil and CIE. And they published this book on drawing that was supposed to teach drawing. So I decided to take some of the, and the way it teaches it is it uses, traditionally drawing was taught where artists would learn to draw by drawing statues. So statues, figurines, whatever. And that is what I'm basing. So, you know, there's no color here. I have to make up the color, the design, pretty much everything myself. But basically, these are my references. I personally cannot paint anything that I can't see. If I can't see it, I can't really paint it. That's a lie because I do abstract stuff. And I can totally paint abstract stuff without seeing it. But for the sake, as far as like something this complex, I don't know. I'm not at a place where I just paint without looking at a reference. You aced your test, dude. Yes, plaster cast, exactly. Omizu, yes. That's the term. That's the term. Well, Eclipse, you know, thanks for sharing. Thanks for letting us know that you have gotten through your situation. And, you know, definitely as a teenager, you go through phases, man. Phases of life. Phases of... Everybody goes through phases. I'm going to open my doors. Be right back. Got to turn off the air conditioning here. Alexa, what's the temperature tomorrow?
Tomorrow, expect a high of 82 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right, 82 in the afternoon is good window opening weather in Los Angeles. So it's good to finally get some fresh air after having had so much mineral spirit smells. So you need sleep, and it is over 10 here. Well, thanks, Eclipse. Thanks for letting me know. And have a great evening, dude. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for keeping me updated on your mental health. That's important. So yes. The next time you're here, I hope that you've found some purpose. Actually, that's kind of like a lofty goal, right? Can't expect somebody to find the purpose in their life in a week, but at least your mood is shifted towards happiness. That's positive. So anyway, we're gonna go here, and I had a brush that I was preparing to use, but something has since happened to it. I guess I'm gonna use this filbert brush. Is that what I was aiming for? So our kittens are very curious about the outer world here. Trying to find a way to keep them in. Make sure that they don't escape. So yeah. Need proper ventilation when working with the spirits. Yep, proper ventilation. And it's hard. I don't use it when I don't have the doors open when it's summertime. So to finally get these doors open and to get some fresh air, it's nice. So here we go. We're gonna work into this head. I've got Got a nice little color. Actually, you know what? Finish one thing at a time. I have to remind myself these things. One thing at a time, dude. Just one thing at a time. So here, what am I gonna do? Let's see. Let's go. It's so distracted so easily. All right, so we're gonna go into here and let's work in this section right here. We're gonna work with our nice new long filbert from Rosemary Co. This is one of the new brushes from today that we showed earlier. And we're going to go around. Oh, this is like a nice peach color. I like it. A nice peach color. I'm just going to brush it in. Just brush it into this section up here. We're going to soften this dark outline. And we need to carve in some shadows. So we're going to create some subtle shadows. One thing at a time, Emmett, and you will finish. So here we go. This shadow's a little too dark, so I'm going to work into it and try to blend it a little better. Kind of like mold it, give it like an airy feel. So you know, another fellow painter that doesn't ever use any sort of solvents when painting, something you rarely see but still cool. Wow, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, that's interesting. And you know, on one hand, like the only reason why anyone would ever use solvents is if they're like, you know, they want an effect, just like if you're not using solvents, for sure. So I can only imagine there's a certain thing that they're trying to achieve by not using solvents. Obviously, right? Like, obviously someone is trying to achieve an effect when they're not doing something. So my goal right now is to finish up this section right here. Finally, there we go. So there's a problem with this brush, is that it's a little too big for what I'm trying to do. But anyway, let's carve something. I need let's go. We go from this belly button is gonna have some curvature right here. Actually, this whole area can use a little bit more value shift. So let's see. He does Alla Prima. He doesn't even use them to clean his brushes. He just uses. Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely heard of that. So what's this channel? What is this channel that you feel like you like to promote? By the way, my YouTube channel, man, like, if you want to promote something, go ahead and talk about it. Now, the only thing that I don't like is if someone's like, hey, man, you know, I was looking at your profile photo, and you know what, I work with artists who need new profile photos, so if you hire me, I'll make you a brand new profile photo whatever. I don't like that, but as far as commercial promotions go, for everything else, it's totally cool here. So if you want to go ahead and name that artist, go for it. I talk about other artists all the time. But I do find that the majority of people who do that kind of stuff, where it's like, hey, I know you noticed you didn't have like a profile banner, and I work with artists to make profile banners. That can be kind of annoying sometimes. But here we go. We're gonna need to add some. So creating a bit of roundness. I'm painting badly. Yeah, so interestingly enough, when I first started painting, my goal was to be like just totally an alla prima painter. No painting that I do was meant to take more than like a day. But the more and more I painted, I wanted to do more and more complex scenes. And with stuff like this, although it's possible that, I guess technically if I was like just really quick with everything, I could finish this in a day. But I wouldn't feel like I was paying the appropriate homage to this idea, this concept. So I usually switch around between like real quick paintings that take me like anything under an hour to more serious stuff. I mean, I guess it can also be serious, right? It's all a matter of perspective, but I don't know. Let's see. How do I feel about this section right now? Still need some work. So you're an alla prima artist? What do you have too many ideas to focus on a specific subject matter, so alla prima isn't possible for you. And you know what? Let's add a little bit of white here. I'm gonna go in with some white into our pink and yellow. I'm gonna carve this section out right here. Let's carve this out. And we're going to create a nice round edge right here. And another nice round edge here. And then we can just play. Here, let's go. Right across. All right, I actually like where this is at. Cool, perfect, fantastic. We are in a good place, people. Going with the pink. Actually, probably needs a little bit more pink, so we're gonna do that. But kind of build composition similar to how it seems I'm working. So pretty, I mean, pretty traditional, you know, like I would say the only thing difference between my painting and a traditional style that's been around for 1,000 years is basically well, actually a couple hundred years because the invention of like whatever, but um you know, I think it's been done for hundreds of years that people sketch out and then they paint. That's it. Like, you know, the idea that they sketch it out. And how they sketch it out varies, but um, the only difference with me and the modern artists, most modern artists, I think, is, or contemporary artists, is that I sketch with, I sketch with the paint rather than sketching with rather than like a pencil or graphite. So how do you do it? Do you okay. Well, hey, if you want to promote your page, man, let me know. I have another phone, so tell me your Instagram or whatever channel you want to promote, and I will show it right here live, and we can talk about your pieces. We'll talk about the work you do. I'm obsessed with this figure, by the way. I absolutely love this figure. Let's go. I gotta blend this section a bit better. A little bit better blending here. Maybe a little bit of pink into here. Oh, Mizu Paints, is that on Instagram? Is it Omizu Paints on Instagram? Let's see. Let's see Omitsu. Let's pull up Omitsu. Omizu _ paints. Oh, so you don't have an Instagram. Minnesota Pop Art. Yeah, no, I get that you're not here to promote, but you know what? We're talking about your pieces, and yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, all right. So I see your buck. Is this a character you made? Is this a character you designed? Ah, all right. Nice stuff. Cool edges. I really like these these edges because they're sharp, but they also create a lot of dimension in the painting, but just in the right areas. All right, cool. Some fun art. Cat guy or cat girl, cat guy. Either way, whatever, however you identify, that's cool. All right, good old cats. I like them. I'm a cat person too. Good stuff. All right. Flowers, animals. Pop art. Oh yeah, look at that pop art. That's really neat. So it's like, this looks like paper. This is really cool. The way you folded that paper or whatever. I don't know if it's paper or like a plastic or like some sort of folded plastic. Definitely adds a new dimension. Yeah, there we go. Collage. I don't know if this is collage or however, but it looks like it's got a lot of layers, which is really nice. Yeah, anime pop art. There we go. Good stuff, dude. Great stuff. So this one little edge in here is going to bother me. Little edge in here, so we need to carve this out. Actually, you know what I can do to carve it out is just add a shadow. So I need a nice dark green shadow here. And let's just carve out a nice dark green shadow. And then into here, what is this right here? Oh, okay. So that's the shoulder, and that's the arm. Let's clean off this brush. Good stuff. So if you're in Minnesota and you want some pop art, all sorts of stuff, there you go. You found your artist, people. Minnesota, SODA pop art. He is here right now. He is here now, right now. All right, so we're working up here. I'm trying to figure out exactly how to navigate this section right here. Okay, we're gonna go into here. We're just using like little hash marks to create the sense of shadow here. It's a very 1800s way of creating shadows. Mid to late 1800s. And let's see. Can't tell if I need a fine detail brush or what. Okay. So am I a fan of Jim Dine? So I've never heard of Jim Dine. So let's look him up. Let's look up Jim Dine. Jim Dine. Well, a lot of my people that I follow him. He's a wood sculptor. Look at these sculptures. My goodness, they're amazing. I like his, yeah, he's got some great portraits. Look at these portraits. Yeah, look at that sculpture. That's amazing. Is that wood? I don't know what that's made of, but let's see. They needed preserve. Tour de force. It doesn't say what it's made of, but that's pretty cool. Jim Dine. Good old. Yes, amazing. That's good to know. I like to, it's nice to know that, you know, your art kind of matches the work of another's. So I feel like I'm done with this brush. I can no longer use this brush for this piece on this section right here. Actually, I want to finish one section at a time, which means I got to finish this body, these two bodies in the center, because they really do a lot to establish what's happening in the overall painting. And I feel like once I do that, I can kind of work around it and start to just build all the way around and slowly figure my stuff out. So I need a smaller brush. I'm gonna go to kind of an art history nerd. So what is your I think you know, most art history nerds have an era that they spend a lot of time obsessing over. What would you say yours would be? Your era of pop art appreciation? I don't think this brush is gonna do the job that I need, but we can still work with it. I'm gonna work with it. Blend it up. Go a little bit darker with this purple here. And I need to go dark into these shadows. All right. No, I think I could be happy with what is going on here. Started with Picasso, then Dali, then Miro, and many other surrealist and contemporary and conceptual and pop art. So it's been abstract art and more contemporary artists. Cool, man. Quite the adventure. Yes. You know, I wonder if, like, you know, the more artists I get to meet and talk to, I often wonder, like, you know, I used to not want to say that a lot of my art is like a deep, started with like a deep dive into Vincent van Gogh, because it just sounds so cliche. But the more and more I meet artists, I feel like every artist starts off with an inspiration from one of the, you know, super like modern greats. Or what am I saying, modern? Like, you know, like just good old classical artists, whether it be like Michelangelo or Rembrandt. I used to think it sounded like too cliche, but you know what? It is a natural thing to do, to start off an artistic journey by following, you know, someone who's really well known and a great artist. And as long as you kind of like transform and change your styles and try to create your own, at some point, you know, you'll come across something. But so I have a little section right here that I need some work. I think needs some work, and then once I could do that, I think this portion, this little section right here, I'd be happy with. Yeah, exactly. We all have something or something. And some people, it's their parents, I guess. If you were fortunate enough to grow up in an art family. All right, the second piece in the background is a little less detailed, but that's okay, because it's okay, because I said it was okay. So we're gonna go down into here and use this area to create a roundness into our little pot there. And then we're gonna go with this purple here, and let's brighten it up. What's a good color that would brighten up purple? I guess like a blue. I guess a light green. I keep taking this purple and somehow I keep making it, neutralizing it, and I'm trying to avoid making it neutral. So maybe a red. You know what? Yeah, I think a red would be okay. If I made more of a reddish purple. There we go. Problem solved. And as you tell, I tried to mix some purples into these other areas, and they just ended up becoming like a gray using other colors. So I'm trying to find a less neutral color to work from. Now let's put this in with some green here and yellow. There we go. And we're gonna bring I love graffiti. Yes. And we're gonna go, let's take this red and green and we're gonna create a neutral, just gonna create like a neutral shadow right into here. So you like art, lots of different art. So how's the art scene in Minnesota? Okay, we've finally finished this section, and from this, we can build out the rest. I might make some changes in the future, but I like where it's at right now. I like the colors, I like very supportive and great art scene. That's awesome to hear. I mean, Minnesota is one of the largest great cities of America. So, I wouldn't expect anything less, but it's also great to hear directly from a source of, what makes Minnesota exciting. All right. I'm starting to overwork this section, which means I need to change up my game, and that's what we're going to do. So what I have is I have this body part right here. You know what? I think this, we're going to go with, since this yellow, a purple, I don't want to use too much reds. I just want to use reds to kind of just let things kind of pop out. So I'm trying to avoid the red, but I would like to, I'm trying to figure out like a good composition that would kind of just like, whatever fills this space. And I already have a yellow one there, so I don't want to make too much yellow just like going across. It's something that helps to like, I've had so much green, purple. How do we do this? Na, 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 na. I live in Des Moines. I can't imagine how Des Moines is, because the only thing I know about Des Moines is that that's where Slipknot's from. And if Iowa, if Des Moines, if Slipknot's music is anything reflective of Des Moines, Iowa, it's got to be a somewhat depressing place. No, no offense. I mean, I guess obviously if you take offense, then you'll take offense. But like, just thinking about Slipknot's music, if it is anything representative of there, I don't want to say depressing, but like, it's a place that does not have happy people, I guess. But again, just some music should not represent an entire city. But if that's all I have to go by, I don't know. How do you feel about Des Moines, Iowa? I don't know much about it. So I've got this great green, and what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with like a nice cool, I'm gonna use two cool colors here. I'm gonna go with this cool teal color. Gosh, so much teal. So much freaking teal. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go with the teal, and that's it. Just stick with it. The teal and the purple will somehow work together. Okay, so let's do it. Lighten this up here. Maybe add a little bit of green or yellow. Okay. So, I've realized that as I start to do bigger and bigger paintings, I'm not going to have the flexibility to kind of just like use my wrist to rest on this thing. But let's see. So we're going to go right into here. We're just going to go boom, boom, boom. Just slowly brushing across and creating our design. So, bam, bam, bam. I think one great thing about painting live, another great thing, there's a lot of great reasons why I think artists should do live stream painting, is that when you have like conversations with people such as yourself, random people popping in, or maybe not so random, I don't know, I think it helps to build your painting endurance, because I feel like if you weren't here, I probably would have stopped painting like a half an hour ago. Although I am on a roll, so that helps too. I feel like I've got momentum. But when people are kind of just like popping in and out to like chat, I think there's an effect. There's a positive effect that gets you to paint for longer. And sometimes I treat painting like a sport. Like I'm building my painting endurance. I'll treat painting like a sport, which I know may or may not be effective strategy. But it is what it is. So you said Des Moines reminds you similar to Minneapolis. Your wife is from Des Moines, so you moved here because she did not want to live more north. I mean, it is cold up north, right? Is that why? What made y'all want to leave Minnesota? Like, I've only ever heard good things about Minnesota, for the most part. And here we go. So I'm just going into all these blank spaces here. Grab some more of this color. I really like this color that I made. It's like a almost an olive. It's like a very light olive. Much to do and see. Winters are brutal and long, but it's a great place to experience. Yes, great place to experience. Cool. So when I was painting this figure, what I love about it is all the curves and the changes are like so subtle. But with all these, so all the male body parts are all like, it's all about the muscles, you know? So it makes it really hard to kind of paint because you gotta go for you gotta hit all the transitions. All right, so this leg is gonna go all the way across to that hair. Uh-oh, I messed up and covered up some hair. So I don't want to do that anymore, but definitely gonna fill in some of these spaces, start to create some of the dimension of this. Maybe add some other colors into here. Yeah, not maybe, I should, instead of just keeping it this flat green. Because otherwise it's just kind of confusing. So we're going to go some of this teal here. We're just going to go over the top. Yeah, right on. So what's the biggest event in Des Moines, Iowa going on right now? Any festivals or summertime events? All right, all these crazy shadows need to eventually be modified. So I need a much darker version of this, and I need to kind of go into here with some of the shadows. So I'm gonna get our handy dandy black. Handy dandy black. Always here to help us make a nice deep shadow. So just had your state fair. How did I come to find painting or art making? Just had your state fair? You didn't go though? Alright, well, can't make it to everything, right? So here we go. So how did I find art? So actually I started art with digital. I got really into digital art. And honestly, I was trying to make NFTs. I was trying to become an NFT artist. But what happened, I mean, obviously, like, you know, the market shifted and everything. And what ended up happening was I didn't really like digital art. It was not for me. I didn't enjoy the process. I didn't, you know, I didn't feel. I just didn't enjoy the process of making digital art. It didn't feel exciting to me. It felt like, you know, I was just didn't feel exciting to me. It's hard to explain exactly what it was, but there's just a lot about digital art that I didn't enjoy, and because of that, I started moving. I moved. I took a break. I actually went to school for like digital art, concept art, and actually went to school. Went to a digital art school that taught concept art, and it was an online program, so nothing like too fancy. Like I guess one of the top digital art schools is I can't remember the name, but anyway, I went to a digital art school. Wasn't really into digital art, so I dropped that. And then after a while, I was just doing lots of drawing. And then eventually, drawing turned into painting, and I've been painting for about a year. So that's one of the answers. So I've been painting for about a year, and you know, as we mentioned earlier, we were talking about like finding our inspirations and things, and I would say that some of my art is just a deep dive, really deep dive into Vincent van Gogh's work. Try to pronounce his name right, but yeah, just a really deep dive into his work. Like even this piece, right? This entire piece is based on the the book, the the casts that his company, his brother's company produced. And it's been that experience ever since, just getting into physical art from digital art. The thing about digital art, I can't go into detail. I can go into detail about that, but the thing that I didn't like about digital art is like, just felt too. Like, you just felt like everything could be like perfected, and I really didn't like that idea of like, you know, the perfect circle could be made with digital art. So I don't really like that idea because it's like just didn't feel right to me. So that's like part of the reason why I stopped doing digital art. Actually, this needs to be a little lower. There's like no excuse not to have like a perfect design in digital art. So physical art felt more freeing to me. And I've just been working on this ever since. And also, when it comes to like digital physical art, there's something about like feeling of a brush. So I was going on and on, like, you know, when I first started this live stream about like the tactile sensations that I was getting from my new brush. And I feel like that's really hard to achieve with digital painting. Like, you know, it's one thing to have the effects, and I think digital painting has come such a long way that you really can capture a lot of the effects of a paintbrush. Not totally, but you can. Like, some of the qualities are there. However, the tactile sensation is just a totally different thing. Now, the one day that they invent some technology that allows a digital artist to feel the same tactile sensations as a paintbrush, that will be a quite fascinating time. But until then, definitely sticking with oils. But that's pretty good. You would have guessed I've been painting for a lot longer. It's a tactile feeling that draws me to tradition. Yeah. Oh yeah. So, you know, I didn't actually see what you wrote there until I said that. But yeah, exactly. Same thing, man. Same situation. Like it is a tactile experience for sure that totally transforms painting compared to the digital experience. But you know what? There's more work for digital artists. So there's that, right? Can't deny that. Good digital artist is in high demand. Especially out here. I lived in Los Angeles. So, you know, if you're a good digital artist, you should be able to find work. Whereas, you know, physical artist, painter, you really have to do some extra work hustling and, like, you know, developing your brand and everything. So anyway, it's been quite a few hours. I feel like I could keep going, but I'm not sure because, like, I reached a point where I'm kind of like painting this and I'm like, is it not good because I feel kind of tired, or is it not good because it's just in an ugly phase right now? That's the tough part about painting sometimes. Is you don't know if you've been painting for a long time. Sometimes it's hard to know whether your painting's like not looking good because it's still in the ugly phase, or because you've reached a point in your painting that you're kind of tired and you're just not sure. So anyway, I think I should work through some of these challenges here, and I think through this working through it, I can find, oh, it's okay. I could paint light on dark. Let's try it. Let's go light into dark. And we're gonna get some of the muscular definition here. Okay. Never know where it will take you. Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally do enjoy that part of the process. I feel like a lot of artists who like are so precise on what they want to paint, you know, they start with like a digital sketch, and then they have it like printed out, and then they like, you know, take the design and exactly put it onto a canvas, and they have all the colors planned out already. I feel like they kind of miss out on the spontaneity of some artwork. But you know, there's something to be said about the way they do it, because they do some incredibly clean and masterful work. So there is something to say about that in a positive way. But I definitely feel like I can't work like that, because it feels like there's so much to be experienced. And we're gonna go into this color again. And let's fill in some of these areas here. So it's like going on an adventure. That's a good way to put it. An adventure. So here we go. We're gonna go down right here. This little crease into these muscles. And let's see if I can start to just soften these muscle details really, like right now. I wonder if that's gonna be possible. Probably not, because once black gets into an area, it's going to affect the whole thing, whereas in the light areas you can kind of modify if it's in the light space. So that's not going to be possible, but I will make an attempt. I will make the effort. Let's go. Clean this brush off a bit. You know what? Maybe we just need some highlights. So let's bring in some white highlights, some white green highlights. Go like this, and bring these across the top of the leg here. Into the shoulder. Going on an adventure. So here we go. Go right down here and go here. Up some of the features. Maybe I'm trying to be a little too precise with this, and I don't need to be. Free up my natural paintingness. So here we go. We're gonna go around, bring this down, and come down at this corner. Take down some of the shadow, push that out, blend around in this round section here. I want to create this like brushed effect that I have there. So this area right here needs some light. Ah, that's good. Almost there. Create a nice thing right here. A little highlight right there, but we can actually brush this into here to soften the shadow. And then once we soften the shadow, have all sorts of stuff to work with. So, round out this area. Still feel like some of the muscles are a bit too harsh, but let's see how we'll modify that later. But for now, as long as we have some of the details here. There we go. Feels like a human body, right? This feels like a human body. Very muscular human body. Almost too muscular, because the muscles and the striations in the body are just too well defined. So that's the challenge we will be working with here in the future. Or maybe I just need some blue. Let's try going for some blue highlights here. Yeah, I like that. A little bit of blue highlight. 1, 2, 3. Get them in sections here. There we go. Adding some detail here. I like this. All right. Good, good. I was a little afraid to use this blue at first because I feel like there's so much blue and it kind of like overpowers, but I think it's doing a good thing. And something I have to remember, and I'm just going to share this. I'll probably forget the next time I need it, but little like painting tip is when you're painting on wet paint, it's important to remember that the paint that's, and this is going to sound so obvious, yet so it's going to sound so obvious, but I often forget it, is the paint that is on the canvas, if it's wet, it's going to affect the color of the paint that you attempt to put on the canvas on top of it. It sounds so simple, but it's something I often forget because I'll think, hey, I need to mix this very specific color when I put it on, where what I really need to do is think about what color is already on the canvas and then work from there. So for example, this body already has a ton of green and white on it. So the way I need to change my thinking, and I need to remember this, I'm remembering it for myself, is the way I need to change my thinking, for those of you that are curious, is the fact that if I know there's this green and this white on there, then I need to know that and know how it's going to affect this blue. And basically, it's going to make the blue lighter. And I've probably overworked this part. These bodies parts, I'm definitely going to have to come back later anyway. So I feel like I should just leave it at this. I have a hard time. Some of the things that I struggle with painting-wise is painting very muscular bodies. Because you really got to find a nice balance between creating a subtle separation between the muscle group without making the edges look like too hard. So, you know, without making it look like it's actually, I mean, technically it is chiseled out of stone, this thing that I'm working with. So, but the thing is, you don't want to make it look like that, right? Like that's not my goal. So maybe have that challenge as the artist. Anyway, I have the basic shape here. I'm gonna modify it. I'm gonna continue to modify this in the future, but for now, I think this is a good spot to just kind of leave it and work on later. See, it doesn't look as good as this one because, you know, with this feminine body, you know, it's just round, right? That's just like how the classical, that's just the classical form, you know, just the beautiful roundness, curvatures, and that's really easy to capture. I mean, maybe not for everybody, right? But It's a matter of just following the curves. But like when you have these awkward body shapes and all the muscle groups, that transition from space from part to part is really tough to manage sometimes, especially if you're literally painting something that's carved out of stone. So anyway, thoughts there. Whew. Non-stop talking. But anyway, let's go to another part. Let's figure out our next space for design. And what I think, there's this mouth in here I kind of want to work on. Some mouth, there's another body part right here, there's all these other things. You know what? I think now is a good time for a break, everybody. Probably come back either tomorrow or the day after, or maybe never. Maybe I will just leave this painting and never finish it. That's definitely not going to happen, but it's a possibility, right? All things are possible. In the known universe, all things are possible. See, I don't mind quitting things if there's like a good reason, but I don't like to quit things if it's too hard. And I feel like if I was to quit this, the only reason would be because it was too challenging. So that would mean that I'm not going to quit it. We're going to keep going. But I just don't know when. Let's see. I want to paint in the shadow for this area right here. I'm like looking at the shadow, it's kind of like confusing me. There's like something off about this. But you know what? I could go in with the black and paint over it. This is a nice dark shadow anyway. Let's go into here and let's define our shadow here. And let's go like this. Bring this down. Bring this down a bit more right here. So using a nice black for our shadow. Now, it wouldn't usually be recommended to use black for shadows, but it's definitely good if you want to create a lot of drama in a piece. Like, just look at how black affects this space right here. It's like, it has a really powerful effect. And if not used appropriately, it can create a lot of issues in your painting. So we're going to use this, and this is going to come down right around here. It's going to come down about halfway, and then we're going to go like right here, and then bam, a little crazy little triangle, whatever that triangle does. Honestly, most experts will tell you not to use black, but I love using black. I love using the color black. You have to, but it's really difficult to work with if you aren't careful and you don't have time. Like if you're very limited on time for whatever reason on a painting, and you need a lot of like really specific like fine colors, I think black's not the color to go with, because if you have even just a little bit of a mistake, you know, the black is going to start to move into the other sections, and it create a lot of trouble if you're trying to, you know, knock out a painting really quickly, because it's not dry. When it's dry, you can easily paint over the black. Well, not easily, but you know, with less difficulty. And I can see right here, so this section is kind of like right here, I need to come out a bit further with this thing right here. But what I really am going to have to do is, once I'm ready to paint this section, hopefully the black is dry, and I can just go into it. This is a lot of black paint, by the way. But once this section is dry, I can actually just paint over it again with this color. Now, let's see, this is going right up to the shoulder here. We're going to go down right here. And let's see, wherever this piece is right here. So this is going to curve in. That's a really small curve here. So we're going to go like this. This curve really needs to end right around there. So wherever this is happening, that's about at the right spot. So what is going on here? Oh, okay, not much. Okay, I'm working from my reference. I am going down, right here. Let's go straight up right here, and then come around like so. This needs to come in a bit. we go. So we can actually start to kind of blend this. I'm trying to keep do a separation between the masculine and the feminine characters, where, you know, the masculine, you know, the male characters have a bit more deep shadows, whereas the female characters are not as deep in shadow. So as I work on that, those are some of the differences I hope to capture. I think I might eventually just have to make it figure out. All right, so I mean, have a good evening. Hey, thanks so much, Omitsu. Thanks for popping in, and look forward to chatting again some other time. Whenever that time will be, I will be here. Because obviously, if I wasn't here, we wouldn't be able to have that conversation. So, anyway, great to have you stop by. Great to connect with some new people. So, here we go. We're going to go here, pop this up, and let's go like this. Go like this. Bring that in. And take a look at the camera to see how it's looking. Alright, I definitely need to do some work on it, but good step. So here we are. We're going to take a little break, actually maybe a long break, and great timing. Because all the wonderful people have also called it an evening. I guess in Minnesota. Alexa, what time is it in Minnesota?
In Minnesota, it's 11:13 p.m.
Oh, it's 11:13 p.m. Alexa, what time is it?
It's 9:13 p.m.
9:13 p.m. in Los Angeles. So let's go ahead and wrap up our stuff. And for those of you here, the beginning of this stream was primarily about the unboxing of our Rosemary Co brushes, and although I got to use one and I was totally excited for it, I still am totally excited for the rest of them. The rest of this painting was done with brushes that I've had before because I am comfortable with them and they get the effects that I needed right now, but definitely at some point soon I will continue sharing more about these Rosemary Co brushes. Awesome brush company, totally recommend them. And with that, I got a couple of things to pack. So here we go. Let's wrap this up. Close this up. And with that, good night, everybody. We're literally just wrapping up right now. So thanks for tuning in. If you pop in the future, thank you in the future. And those of you that were here, thanks. Take care.